Okay, so welcome back to the mix domain. In this tutorial we're looking at processing the lead vocals and just making sure that they always remain present in the mix and they stand out with effects and compression and EQ and so forth. So that's what we're doing in this tutorial here. So I'm just looking at the compression first of all. I'll play you what I've got so far. I'll just solo this out so you can hear this. Well, we'll just play it in context first, and then you can hear it soloed out by itself.
Don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. Every day is such a bore, so what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Life get in the way. Will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way? Or will you groove today? Let it go, let it flow. Feel it in your soul. Feel the beat. Get on your feet. Let the music take control. Ain't no more to say. Not today. Set your mind free. And believe.
So you can hear there the compressor is really catching all of those louder parts and also bringing up the lower parts as well. I guess I could turn the output up a little bit more there, but you heard as I was taking out the release a bit that the vocal was kind of like pumping too much. So I just wanted to control that with the timing of the attack and release there. It looks like I'm hitting the compressor hard, so I could probably take that down to a 4:1 ratio instead of the 8:1 ratio. So we'll have a listen to that now with those change settings.
Don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. Every day is such a bore, so what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? Let it go, let it flow. Feel it in your soul. Feel the beat. Get on your feet. Let the music take control. Ain't no more to say. Not today.
So you can hear there that the vocal is much more competitive with everything else once I put the compressor back in there. So I'm using this CLA 76, which is an old URI emulation of an 1176. This is the blue stripe version that I'm using here, not the black. That's the black version. So the blue stripe, I think, just lends itself better to the vocal, especially a female vocal like this. So I'm using that in this context. And the next thing I would probably look at doing is some EQ as well, and the order of which may change depending on how this sounds. So we'll just look at putting some EQ in. I'll probably look to the FabFilter first, and then we'll do some different EQ on the subgroup as well. So first thing I'm going to want to do is I'll just solo this so you can hear what I'm doing. Normally I would never mix like this. I would always mix in context, but just to show you what I'm doing here, the first thing I'm going to do is do some filtering, and then maybe add in a little 200, take out some of the 350 range or 400 range. It sounds a little bit boomy there, and then just clear up all the highs, make sure we've got some top end in, just to add that little bit of a crisp. Okay, so let's hear how this sounds with the added EQ.
I don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. The everyday is such a bore, so what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? Let it go, let it flow. Feel it in your soul. Feel the beat. Get on your feet. Let the music take control. Ain't no more to say. Not today. Set your mind.
So it sounds a little bit harsh right there around about the 1 to 2K range. So I'm definitely going to want to take some of that out. But again, not trying to lose the presence of the vocal and the clarity of that. So let's just see where that needs to be taken out, and then we'll look at the high end of things as well.
I don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't
So it's
take
that sort of
no
boxiness that we want
more.
to try and get rid of.
Every day is such a bore, so what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? Let it go, let it flow, feel it in your soul, feel the beat, get on your feet, let the music take control. Ain't no more to say, not today, set your mind free, hand in the air, sway without a care, be who you wanna be. Hey, yeah, hey, oh yeah, what you gonna do? Had a few, you're feeling loose, get on the floor, there's no excuse.
So again, with that frequency that I'm adding there, I'm trying to get a little bit more of the diction out of the vocal as well, so we can understand every syllable that she's singing, and also I've added some top end in around about the 10 to 12k range, so that's giving it a little bit more clarity as well. So hopefully you can hear that clarity in the voice as I play it against the rest of the track.
Don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. Every day is such a bore, so what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? Let it go, let it flow, feel it in your soul, feel the beat, get on your feet, let the music take control. Ain't no more to say, not today, set your mind free, hand in the air, sway without a care, be who you wanna,
Okay, so you can definitely hear the difference there of what the EQ is doing to that. It just keeps the vocal present and more up front. And you know, we could try reordering these so that the compression comes after the EQ. Let's see what that sounds like instead.
Don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. Every day is such a bore, so what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get?
So you can hear that, you know, there's a bit of difference there. It's only subtle, but we'll have another listen to that in the other position.
Don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. Every day is such a bore, so what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? Let it go.
So I think for me, I do prefer it in the original configuration with the compression first and then the EQ afterwards. It just adds that little bit more clarity to a vocal. So I think I'm done with that, with the compression EQ there for now. Probably come back to that later on the groups as well. And then I've got some sends already set up here with a parallel compression, which I'm not using at the moment, and also some delay and reverb effects here, which I just call them Vox Verb, but actually that is sending to this reverb track down here, which has a delay instantiated and a H reverb as well. So we'll just have a look at what those two are doing. I've got the reverb bypassed at the moment, but this is what it would sound like when I add in the delay.
Get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? Let it go, let it flow. Feel it in your soul, feel the beat. Get on your feet, let the music take control. Ain't no more to say, not today.
So you can hear what that delay is doing. It's basically giving it some width, but also you can actually hear it going a little bit further back into the mix as well. So the vocal's not so much in your face now. It actually blends within the other instruments a bit better. And you can actually hear that it sounds like they're all playing within the same sort of space now. And, it goes back to that sound stage that we were talking about in the blog. So it's clear that delay is definitely pushing the vocal deeper into the mix, and also giving me that left to right width as well, which kind of helps the whole stereo image of the vocal as well, and it's going to sound good in stereo and in mono in that instance. So let's see what it sounds like then if we feed the delayed signal into a reverb as well. It's not a massive reverb time. It's 1.6. And there's no pre-delay because I've already got pre-delay in a sense with this delay that I'm using here. It's a very short delay, by the way. It's offset slightly between the left and right, so that is 119 and then 122, just to give it a little bit more depth and a bit more width. And then we'll see what it sounds like with the reverb as well put in after that.
Don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. Every day is such a bore. So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? Let it go, let it flow. Feel it in your soul, feel the beat. Get on your feet, let the music take control. Ain't no more to say, not today. Set your mind free, hand in the air. Sway without a care. Be who you wanna be. Hey, yeah, hey, oh yeah. What?
So definitely the reverb gives it a little bit of extra 3D depth as well. So it's a little bit more three-dimensional now. That width that we had from left to right has definitely been accentuated and emphasized, and we're also getting the front to back depth now as well. So it's a lot more three-dimensional with the delay feeding into the reverb. So I think this is the way that I always mix vocals anyway. I always have a delay first. Rather than using the actual pre-delay on the reverb, I tend to go with a dedicated delay plug-in first and then going into the reverb afterwards. It doesn't always work like that, but that's 99.9% of the time I do that. So that's basically the vocal chain. It does have this Vox. It does have this Vox P-comp here, which is a parallel compression. So we'll have a listen to what that sounds like as well, just for the fun of it. So this is with the parallel chain. If you look at the Vox P-comp chain there, it's literally just an LA2A emulation, but it's, as far as I remember, I don't think it's really doing that much. It might be pumping a little bit, but in terms of the actual in terms of the return track here, I've got it down at the moment, so let's just have a look at this. Okay, I'm sending the full signal, to this as a parallel. Okay.
Don't know what has brought you here, but one thing is crystal clear. You had enough, can't take no more. Every day is such a bore. So what you gonna do? The choice is up to you. Will life get in the way, or will you groove today? So what you gonna do? The choice
Okay, so I don't know if you can hear that. I was just bypassing the effects as well as the parallel. But what that's doing is the parallel is bringing the vocal back into the forefront again. And I over exaggerated that just now, just so you could hear what it was doing. But normally it wouldn't be that high, probably be a bit lower down. But I just exaggerated it so you could hear what was going on. So obviously this is going to change throughout the mix. So when the song's playing back, it might have more parallel in the choruses and then less in the verses. So it is definitely going to be automated in that instance. But I just wanted you to hear what that parallel can do for you, and when after you've applied the reverb and delay, you can actually bring that vocal back to the forefront again and still keep that three-dimensional stereo width like we were talking about, and it will then bring that vocal back to the forefront again and just keep it there. When she goes louder, it's going to catch those transients, so that's good. So I'm happy with that at the moment. I could take this away and it would still hold up, but I think the parallel works nice in this situation. Of course, then it's going to evolve even more once you put in the Fairchild here on the subgroup, and also extra EQ there as well. So that's maybe for a different tutorial, but I'm hoping you can hear that there, the vocal chain that I've got going in this mix. So that is the vocal processing that I would normally do, and it varies in terms of which plugins I use, but it's generally the same sort of chain most of the time. Sometimes, like I said, I switch these two around, so you have the EQ going into the compressor instead. So it just depends on how I'm feeling it on the day, or how I think the mix would sound better in that configuration. So you can try it out both ways and see how it works for you, but you have to experiment with this stuff, so it's never going to be, there are no rules to it. So but definitely the effects, try those effects, try the parallel, and see if that works for you as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.